Hi everybody, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts. I want to wish all of the co-presenters and everyone for good health and happiness, and looking forward to working with everyone to build a more just and peaceful world for ourselves and our kids. I don't claim to be an expert on these issues, and I certainly cannot claim to be an expert on the suffering and the struggles of Palestinian people. So please be patient with my ignorance, and I'm sure that you'll correct me when I make misstatements. Okay, it's not anti-Semitic to criticize Israel. I condemn Israel's human rights abuses, and Israel should be answerable for its war crimes, and so should the United States, by the way. Shirley asked me to mention Bernie's positions on Israel. So I just want to read a couple of quotes from Bernie Sanders. In 2000, and some factoids, in 2008, Bernie was a co-sponsor of a Senate resolution recognizing the 60th anniversary of the founding of the modern state of Israel and reaffirming the bonds of close friendship and cooperation between the United States and Israel. He has said, "I saw and experienced for myself many of the progressive values upon which the state of Israel was founded." I think David made a reference to that. I think it is very important for everyone, but particularly for progressives, to acknowledge the enormous achievement of establishing a democratic homeland for the Jewish people after centuries of displacement and persecution. I think that displacement is something that we Jews can relate to, and that's why, for personally, I feel very strongly about the displacement of any people anywhere. Bernie has also said nobody gains when Israel spends an enormous part of its budget on the military. Nobody gains when these are Bernie's words. Nobody gains when Palestinian children are trained to be suicide bombers. We can oppose the policies of Islamic extremism without being anti-Muslim. Peace means supporting self-determination, civil rights, and economic well-being for both peoples. Bernie has said, there is another side to the story, the displacement of hundreds of thousands of people already living there, the Palestinian people. Over 700,000 people were made refugees. To acknowledge this does not delegitimize Israel. Okay.
These were remarks made in 2008.
At different times.
Those are more recent. I'm sure those are more recent.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was only that bill that I mentioned, that was 2008. Okay, I think that, as I said, I condemn Israel's mistreatment of Palestinian people, and I condemn displacement of any Palestinians at the time of Israel's forming. That needs to be fixed in some way. However, I think that sometimes critics of Israel's policies in the territories, it sometimes becomes criticism of of the entire state of Israel and everything that Israel does. And I don't think that's quite fair. And so I just wanted to mention a couple of things about Israel's domestic policy, and I want to say that whatever good Israel does not excuse or justify the bad things that it does. But I think it's important not to completely demonize and to recognize that it's important to recognize the good as well as the bad. Israel is a democracy. Citizens, including Muslims, Arabs, and other non-Jews, elect the Israeli government. Non-Jews, including Muslims and Arabs, can hold government positions. Palestinian Arabs sat in the state's first parliamentary assembly in 1949. There have been Muslim Israeli Supreme Court judges, elected mayors, members of the Knesset, the National Minister of Health, ambassadors, professors, professional athletes. There have been Arab Israeli generals, UN delegates, Olympic athletes, and Miss Israel. There is an Arab political party in Israel. Israel recognizes Arabic as an official language. Israel does not ban Islam, Christianity, or any other religion. Say again?
Arabic language, not anymore.
Oh, thank you.
July 2018.
Thank you for the correction. Okay. A little bit about women's rights in Israel. The Israeli Declaration of Independence states the state of Israel will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. Of course, words and reality are two different things. Israel had a female leader in 1969. America still hasn't. 26% of Israel's legislature is women. The 2000 equality law states that the right of women to serve in any role in the IDF is equal to the right of men. THC, the active ingredient in cannabis, was discovered by a Professor Raphael Mechulam of the Hebrew University. Israel decriminalized adult cannabis in 2019. Israel is the first country in Asia to recognize same-sex unions. Israel has freedom of religion, and the death penalty isn't practiced in Israel.
He said, not really. It's questions later.
Let's have the questions later, yes, this would be great.
But I definitely want to hear criticism, because I don't want to make misstatements. Let's see. I have some questions about Palestinian statehood, and I'm curious to know what kind of state would a Palestinian state be in terms of some of the things that I mentioned: women's rights, freedom of religion, gay rights, cannabis freedom, etc. My reading, I spend a lot of time in discussion groups. I debate people from across the political spectrum, and many Israel conservatives claim that Palestinians have turned down many opportunities for statehood. I want to rebut their claim, so help me rebut their claim. That's something that we can talk about later. Regarding who is indigenous to Israel, I think that even though Jews were, for I think several hundred years, or maybe about 1,000 years, were the predominant group in Israel about 3,000 years ago, that's about 3,000 years ago, and I'm not. I question whether that justifies displacement of people 50 years ago.